Hello, this is Alejandro Contreras, and today we're going to be going over the RAFT writing strategy as applied to our French Revolution lesson. What is RAFT? A writing to learn strategy that has multiple editing checkpoints that create a final polished project. RAFT stands for role, audience, format, and topic. Types of writing with RAFT include persuasive writings, diary entries, poems, letters, even brochures and obituaries. We're going to have the students create this type of writing after reading the chapters on the French Revolution. The book we're going to be using is The French Revolution by Jocelyn Hunt. The students will be reading chapter 1 and will take on a role from a citizen of Paris or France from there. They will use the RAFT format, which they will select the role, the audience, the format, and the topic. Now we will begin the lesson. French Revolution. I am Mr. Contreras, and this is your 10th grade world history class. Just a disclaimer, no cakes were harmed during the revolution. Let them eat cake, Marie Antoinette. You guys will get it. So what was the French Revolution? The French Revolution was a period of social and political upheaval that resulted in France doing away with their standard monarchy and paved the way towards a system powered by the people. Does this type of revolution sound familiar to you guys? It should. You live in a country where it was founded by a revolution. Alright, so the book we're going to be using is called, guess, The French Revolution by Jocelyn Hunt. This book is going to help us find insight into why the revolution occurred, why it happened, who were the main players involved. Look at the title. Look at the cover page. Do you guys see any symbols on there? What do you think they represent? And take a moment just to think about the American Revolution. What do you think they have in common? What do you think they have different? What do you think that's going to happen during the French Revolution? Now, here's an excerpt from the chapter 1. I'm going to just read it off to you guys real quick. The French Revolution began in May 1789 with the meeting of the Estates General. Each group in the French public life expected its own interests to be served by the meeting, and the fulfilling of and frustration of those expectations marked the start of the revolution. This assembly meeting, 175 years after the last, was a measure of desperation of the French government. From his accession in 1774, Louis XVI had faced a worsening financial situation, compounded by the money and troops sent to assist the Americans in the war against the British. France failed to gain the expected benefits. The liberated colonists continued to trade mainly with Britain and were slow to repay the French loans. Turgot had warned that the first shot would drive France into bankruptcy, and he was proved right. Now, France was out of money. The king taxed the estates very heavily, except the aristocrats and the clergy, which is the church. All right, guys. Picture it. France, 1789. Right now, we're going to create our own very document that puts us in the place of the French citizens in 1789. Using this format, you're going to select a role, audience, the format of, type of letter, speech, legislation, diary, and the topic you're trying to tell. We're going to show you this example, me as a merchant addressing the tax collector, in the form of a letter about taxation increase. Give you guys a second to just write that down. Let me know when you guys are ready. Can't use my example, all right? All right, here we go. Here's my letter. Monsieur Laurent, I am a citizen of Paris and a merchant. My shop repairs and sells footwear for nearly half of Paris. I understand that you are the king's tax collector in my district. While I humbly serve France and her interests with the Americans, I ask why has our Majesty raised our taxes to such an extreme? The church and you aristocrats do not pay a single penny to the crown, and why? Do you not own enough wealth to pay a small percentage? I only write this as a warning, not a threat. The people of France demand that everyone but the king put their fair share into restoring France's economy. Us merchants are taxed heavily and are given the same treatment as peasants. Merchants keep France and the king from bleeding dry. You would do well to remember that. In all sincerity, Monsieur Wick Reeves, Shoes Galore of Paris. He sounds like a very angry shoe merchant. So, the role I played is a merchant. I'm addressing my audience as a tax collector. The format is going to be of a letter. And the topic is, of course, raising taxes. So that's my example right there. You guys have any ideas of what you guys are trying to do? Take a little bit to think about it. You can be a peasant, you can be an aristocrat, you can be the king, the queen. You can be an American visiting Paris. Maybe a former soldier. Think about it. There's hardly any food, there's hardly any money going around. The taxes are being raised, except for the church and except for the aristocrats. All right, so after you read chapter 1, I want you to use this format, the RAFT format, to create a piece of literature from the perspective of someone in France on the eve of the revolution. It can be a letter, like what you just read from earlier. It could be a diary. It could be a report of information, newspaper article, anything you can think of. It could even be, I guess, a speech that you want to throw, like to say on your soapbox to protesters. Try to maybe get some of the themes that's going on right now in our country. You can even make a comic book. That'll be pretty neat. I know some of you guys are pretty artistic. Any questions, guys? Remember, roll audience